Sorry. Oh, one too many, I think. There we go. To use a house analogy, we are a historic 93-year-old home with some renovation needs, not tear down. An older home that has great structure, character, memories, and history. All great things we don't want to lose. We just want to renovate in ways that enhance the natural appeal and worth. There were key words that emerged repeatedly in our discussions. We split into small groups to identify our own personal core values, those we all shared, the values we share that we also want as part of our collective culture. And from that, there we go. We identified these 5 values for ASU to build upon as we move towards our centennial. Becky, there we go, perfect. Thanks. We defined them. We identified desired behaviors that will indicate when we are living them. Please go to the top of the chat to download a copy of the values flyer for today's session. Now to get your input, I'd like to introduce Flor Madero, who is our Values Council Lead for ASU. She's an associate professor in the Department of Communications and Mass Media, and has her PhD from the University of Texas, MA from ASU, and BA from ASU. Turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Hi, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us on a Friday and giving us an hour of your time. So like Sam said, make sure you go to the chat and pull this flyer if you don't already have it, because we have it here in front of us, but then in a little bit, we're going to go on to other slides. So we want to make sure we work off of the same document. But what I like to start with is the criteria that we're going to be using as we go through these values today. And what we're looking for. So we're looking for your input. We want to make changes. We want to make sure that this is reflective of our campus and who we are as a Ram fan. But we also want to keep these 4 things in mind. Number 1, we want to remain true to the summit intent. And so, for example, the 5 values themselves, the titles, those are going to remain because those are the ones that were brought together after hours of discussion, collaboration, a lot of input. It was a wide variety of a diverse group that had a say in it. And these are the 5 that came to be. However, we are looking for that input in terms of and you'll see the definitions and the behaviors. So we want to remain true to the intent, but we definitely want to take everybody's voice. And let me tell you, changes are being made. We also want to make it more clear and concise. Is there anything that we can make a little more succinct? Is there anything we can do to raise the standard of a behavior? Or definitely remove potentially offensive or exclusive language. And we're going to show you an example of that. As we go on to the next slide, we have our first value, which is integrity. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them just very quickly. You can read faster than I can talk, so I'll let you read through the behaviors and I'll just kind of point out some things about them. And then once I address all of them, we will go each value by value, definition by definition, and behavior by behavior. And that's when you can let us know what are some of your thoughts and your input. So integrity, uncompromising dedication to honesty and respect to ensure a solid foundation. I will say we've already made a few changes on this value from the first town hall. Now know that whatever input you give us, it will be applied as we're hearing from more and more people. But let me give you an example. The last line, the behavior, unify to strengthen purpose. Originally, when we first met, it said, it used to say, demonstrate strength through unity of purpose. And somebody from the summit went and did a search for that phrase. And I'm glad she did, and came back to us and said that that phrase is actually now being used by a hate group. Well, that's not what we want, right? So that's an example of removing potentially offensive language. So it's been changed to this. We're still open to potential changes on that. The next value is significance. So journey of dynamic impact. We've had a lot of questions about, well, what does this mean? Can we find something else that's maybe a little bit more clear? Um, during the summit, President Hawkins spoke to significance. So did Steve Sosland. If you have not met him, you will. But he spoke to about this book by David Brooks, who speaks about success and significance. Success being the things that we do for personal accomplishments to build our own resume, and significance being what we do to lift others up, our legacy, and how we build others and build their resumes. And so significance kept coming up as a word that was important to the group. Also, from what Steve has said, he has worked with a lot of groups on their values, and significance is one that's kind of unique to Angelo State. So that's to give you a little bit of background on that one. The next one is diversity and inclusion. Embrace and invest in our differences. And so you see some behaviors associated with that. We need to look at, can we get a little more concise without losing the meaning on this one? During the first town hall, we changed some of the wording. So for example, mutual respect for all instead of for others. So there have been a little tweaks to this one already. Still open to more. Now, the next value is community. And that is collaborate to develop an inclusive sense of place and purpose. We've already made a change to like the third bullet to make it a little more concise while staying true to the intent, but hoping to hear from others today to see how we can improve that as well, if there's anything we can improve. And then the last one is commitment. The last value, which is hold ourselves and each other accountable to our responsibilities, our goals, and those we serve. During the first town hall, we moved up one of the hold ourselves and each other accountable used to be one of the behaviors. Somebody suggested moving it up and including it as part of the definition. So that's an example of one of the changes. Like I said, we've already undergone several and we're open to making even more. So those in a nutshell are our 5 values. So again, the ground rules, remember, we want to remain true to the intent and the spirit of this, make it more clear and concise. We are open to raising the standard, and definitely if you catch something that you feel is potentially offensive, please bring it to our attention there. So now what we're going to do is Becky's going to stop sharing the screen so we can see each other a little bit better and open up the conversation as if we were sitting around the table and just talking. Welcome, Belinda and Bill. Good to see you. And so you can do this a couple of different ways. You can put things into the chat. I'm going to try to keep up with the chat, and Becky's helping us with that as well. Or you can, I'm going to just ask, anybody have anything to share? Unmute and feel free to share. So hopefully you have your sheet, look something like this. If you have that, let's start with the first one with.
Where are we supposed to get the sheets?
So if you go to the chat, Bill, there should be a link.
Thank you.
Where you can the link for you to go get it. Do you see it?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, if you go to the chat, there's a link there. You can download it. It's on our values website. It's angelo.edu/values. So it's there as well. So the first value, integrity, uncompromising dedication to honesty and respect. Does anybody have any input, anything to say about the definition first, the definition in and of itself? Is it clear enough? Is it concise?
It is. One thing that I noticed, and just because I'm a word guy,
Yes.
Diversity and inclusion, community and commitment, the definitions of those are sentences, and they're like calls to action. Whereas with integrity, it's just a definition of integrity. and I've been searching around in my brain for the right word, but rather than just a definition of integrity, maybe show uncompromising dedication to honesty and respect, or show's not the best word, but
Okay.
embody uncompromising dedication to honesty and respect, to where it's an actual call to action rather than just the definition of integrity.
Yeah, a verb, I'll echo that a verb there would be nice.
Okay. I like that. And you brought up another great point, Tom, which is, like you said, it's missing a word. I don't have the word yet. That's okay. Still bring it up. Maybe somebody else has a word. You can, if somebody else can think of a word, put it in the chat. But also, what this is a beginning of a conversation. Maybe you go back to your desk or over the weekend and you would think of a good word. We're not done with this. This is going to be changing for several more weeks. So we're continue to be open to the input. Isn't it going to, so we have show or embody, but have an action word. Begin with an action word.
Express is another possibility.
Express. Okay. As several of us are taking.
Demonstrate would work.
Yeah, demonstrate.
I like that too. Good. I like that.
I think this is the best. How do I say this? I'm not saying this is the best of the values, but this is the one to me that's the clearest and best
In wording.
Best demonstrated. Some of the other ones, I have no idea what they mean. So
Great. Well, that's good. We want to hear more of that. So the behaviors: act with character and humility, be transparent in motive, communication, and action, take responsibility for words and choices, and unify to strengthen purpose. Okay, so
I just wonder
let's hear.
why that take responsibility has been limited to words and choices. You know.
What are you thinking?
Well,
Is it narrow?
there's lots of things besides words and choices that, you know, I mean, I don't know why it was limited to that.
And I don't, so we had people who led these groups, and we don't have anybody from the integrity team to be able to know what their conversations were like. Sam, you weren't in this one, were you? Okay.
I mean, I would say take responsibility for, you know, one's own actions, or I don't know. I don't know if you got rid of words, it would be, I mean, it's implying that we're just talking about how we talk to each other, and there's, you know, there's way more than talking to each other.
So it's too narrow. Words and choices is too narrow.
Well, words, I mean, choices isn't narrow, but words is.
Mm.
I mean, it implies that we're only concerned about, you know, what we publish or what we say.
Mm-hmm. And you'd like it to include more of what behavior?
I see a lot of, you know, I see plenty of racist, misogynist, and homophobic behaviors that have nothing to do with words.
Mm-hmm. So behaviors.
I mean,
intentions.
hats that you wear, clothes that you wear. You know, there's all kinds of things, right?
Okay. Does anybody have a suggestion for how that could be broadened? Because I think what that does is it fits under the criteria of raising the behavior, the standard of a behavior, right? That if we're being too narrow with it, how can we raise that? Does anybody have an idea? And if you don't,
you could change it to actions, take responsibility for, and I would make it personal. Take responsibility for our individual actions and choices.
For individual.
Well, that's what, because I mean, integrity is not some, you know, I mean, integrity is a personal. In fact, I think these all should be personal. I mean, they're gonna generate, they're gonna be characteristics that we engender as an organization, but they have to be things that people individually can do. If it's like, you know, me change the world, I'm gonna think, well, that's a nice thought to have, but I'm not gonna do anything with it, right? So if they're not personal and direct and immediate, they're not, they're just nice things on the wall.
Right. And I think that's the intent, that all of these, that people will take a values pledge that I pledge to adhere to these values, to try to live by these values. And so that if I take that pledge, and Sam and Tom and you, and that that the collective raising of our expectations is what's going to lift our university and our students. And so, yeah, I think you're on the right track, Bill, that these are intended to be personal.
And at the risk of violating one of your guidelines, 5 is too many.
5 values.
Yeah, it's too many.
Okay. What do you think is
I think 3 is perfect and 4 would be okay.
okay. All right. And just so you know, one of the reasons that this is 5 is that one, there were a lot of values that were trying to be consolidated after 2 days, but also this is something that all the system institutions within the Texas Tech system are doing, and everybody has 5.
Okay.
So
I can remember 3 really easy.
the other 2 you'll lose, huh?
No, I'm just telling you, integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all you do. I mean, I know those like that.
That's Air Force, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, 5 is too many.
Okay.
Okay, you can file that under the opinion clause and move on.
Okay, we're taking notes for sure. Thanks. Anything else under integrity before we move to significance? So I want to make sure we stay on schedule. This ends at 1 o'clock, and I don't want to go over time. People are hungry right now, and if I go over 1, people will then be hangry by that point, and that's not what we want. Okay, so significance, journey of dynamic impact. Anything on the definition?
Again, the journey of dynamic impact. Are we creating a journey of dynamic impact? Are we fostering a journey? Are we implementing a journey? I mean, again, I think it needs a verb.
Yeah, I have no idea what a journey of dynamic impact means. I mean, it sounds like I had a car accident.
But I mean,
I'm serious.
and from the rest of the definitions, or the bullets or whatever,
The behaviors,
it looks like they're trying to create the journey of dramatic or dynamic impact, not only for students but for everybody. And so again, I think it needs a verb.
So
I mean, this is one that I think is not very significant. I mean, because it doesn't. I mean, to me, it doesn't say anything except we want to be. I mean, this in my mind, this speaks to like quality or effectiveness or something. It maximize curiosity. I don't know how to maximize my curiosity, right? I know how to hold myself responsible for my actions. And I don't know.
And that was what I was thinking is, are we maximizing our students' curiosity? Are we maximizing the people that work for us or work with us? Are we maximizing their curiosity, or is this saying maximize your own?
Yeah,
that's where I got to create a journey of dynamic impact. If we're maximizing the curiosity of others and fostering the future growth of our students, our coworkers, our employees, whatever position we may be, embracing opportunities to help our students, to advance our colleagues, to praise our employees or whatever.
So you're saying there needs to be more attached to these. Like it sounds like you're reading up the beginning of a sentence, but you're needing more to this.
Well, this one moves.
Well, I think go ahead. I'm sorry, Bill.
Well, just the integrity one is it's very clear. It's about my integrity and what I need to do to this other one. I mean, that's not a personal thing. That the significance. I mean, if it's a personal one, then it's something about challenging myself, to do meaningful work as opposed to just, making sure my paperwork's done on time or something. But I think I'm echoing what Tom's saying is this looks like it's directed a different direction, or is it? I don't know. And I think these are supposed to be very. I mean, these if these are things we're going to say we commit to, then we're committing to values, not to programs, right? So this isn't about me creating significant programs. This is something about the work that I do every day, making sure that it's, important and significant. And that I don't get that out of this at all. And plus, I just think that's not a significant value. So,
I prefer, I
mean,
don't
I
know
would
if
get
it's
rid
in
of-
the chat.
I would
but-
chuck it, but that's probably not the right. I'm sorry, I interrupted somebody else. I'll shut up now.
No, it's okay. It's Becky. I was just going to point out Kenzie's comment in the chat.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
The
Did she send
chats
them
are
to
set up
you?
so that nobody can see the chats but you, Becky.
No, you have to make it to everyone. You can change that. So Kenzie says, I like the concept of significance, but I think if we are trying to make our values clear, significance is one you really have to explain, if that makes sense.
Becky, we can't select everyone on the chat.
Yeah,
only
we can't
chat.
see it, Becky.
We can
Oh,
only
I see.
chat to individuals or to you as the host.
I'll see if I can fix that real quick.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks.
I think this one,
Needs clarification.
like embrace opportunities to what? It's just kind of vague, I think. And create a journey of dynamic impact for who? For everyone, that's
So if it said create a journey of dynamic impact for self and others.
Well, I think you're mixed. I think you're mixing. I mean, to me, these values should allow us to do our mission, to focus our mission better and do our mission, but they're not focused on the mission. They're focused on what the values we have to do that. So,
Well,
So I
right,
think
because
they-
we have a mission statement, and that I think they're rolling out with, like, there's a new one, and a mission and a vision statement. And so, while they all need to play into each other, this is separate from the mission and vision. Is that what you're?
yeah.
What
So
do
what
you
I'm
feel?
saying is, I don't think this can be about me. I don't have a value of creating significant educational experiences for my students is that's not my value. That's my mission, and my values are about fundamental concepts that I have to hold myself to in order to do my mission well. And so I don't. This has to be about me. I mean, that's why I think all these have to be about me, right, and not about the mission. These inform the mission, but they're not the mission. And so that's why I don't like this one. And honestly, between what I heard from what I heard Becky say about Kenzie's comment and Tom and mine, I think we're all saying the same thing. Is we don't understand what this thing is.
Belinda, you're nodding. You want to tell us? You want to share? And you want to unmute, and I think you're muted.
I just feel that kind of the same way as that it's kind of insignificant, really need of a significance.
All right, 2 votes for insignificant significance.
Okay. Uh-huh. So
Kind of agree that I think less is more. So I kind of agree maybe 3 or 4 because you get inundated. You just need the main top 3 or something.
okay. All right. And I do remember, I was just thinking, Michelle Miller was on one of the town halls a couple of days ago, and she explained a little bit about how, because she was on that group when they talked about how people want to be seen, people want to be heard, people want to feel significant, and how that was one of the purposes in bringing up the significance value is to help others be significant. which plays into what Steve and the president had brought up about helping others build. It's a legacy that you help to leave behind in terms of how are you building others up. I don't know that that's conveyed. Is that being missed through this?
No,
Yeah,
I
that-
think
that-
I think that's being very well conveyed in the community
Yeah.
value. What
Okay.
exactly what you're saying is right there. Serve others and extend genuine acknowledgement and recognition. Support students through their journey. Cultivate meaningful relationships. That's how you build people's significance. So
Okay.
it's all being covered down there.
Ditto.
Okay.
Laura, that's kind of where I was coming from. I like the concept. I like what significance means. But if I were to, and as an employee, we can absolutely, if that's our goal is for employees to embrace this, then we certainly can. But if it's something that we want to go beyond our employees and we want our students and their families to understand, I feel like that it's a great term and it's innovative and it's different and it's all those things we want to be in education. But we're also, on the other hand, sitting here saying, let's use terms that our students know, that our families understand. And my concern with it is you have to explain. It's great. Like, I want to be significant. I want to make my students significant. I want to do all those things. But I feel like if we're having to explain what significance means, we're losing the value of that being part of our core values. I kind of go from the standpoint of looking at and I don't want to say an educated student, but maybe less experienced student, or I can't think of a really the word I want to use, but I don't know that all of our students would see that and know what we mean behind it. And I don't want it to be lost in educational, and it's really not just an education term. I realize that, but I feel like that might be perceived by some of our students and families as an educational jargon word, maybe. I don't know if I'm communicating articulately, but.
Sure. Okay. No, that makes sense. Okay. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go on to, if you still have thoughts on this, please put it in the chat. That would, well, I don't know if that's been, or even if it just goes to Becky, she'll be able to print that out and share with us later. Diversity.
I
Go
think I
ahead.
fixed it. I think I fixed it, Floor. So you guys might try it and let me know.
I will close it, because I will close
Yes,
it
it's
so I can
working now.
reopen it. Now there's an everyone there. Yes, thank you, Becky. So yeah, if you'll put it on out to everyone, that would be great, so we can all see it. Or even as we're going through, if you still have a thought on a previous one, by all means. Diversity and inclusion, embrace and invest in our differences. Our behaviors are build a culture of acceptance, participation, and belonging, create and nurture a safe environment to share ideas and constructive feedback, listen to understand and empower courageous and honest communication, advocate for empathy, fair treatment, and mutual respect for all. Okay, go.
So my first comment is diversity, the whole diversity and inclusion thing sounds like we want to make this a nice place where people can join our team the way our team the way we are right now. And I think most places are moving beyond diversity and conclusion and talking about equity. And so I think, first of all, we've adopted language that's already dated and of the older view of this is to say, okay, we're going to be nice and friendly so you can come join our team, but we're not going to talk about how we're going to change our team so that our team provides a more equitable opportunity for you. And then you want to join our team, not just like, so I think in that sense, the whole thing is sort of dated by, what's not nowhere near the cutting edge of this concept.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you for saying that, Bill. So, go ahead, Sam. Can you speak to what the talks from yesterday and the day before?
Right, and we talked about equity yesterday and the day before. You're absolutely right. And one of the things we were talking about in there was to embrace a culture of equity, participation, and belonging. And the reason removing the word acceptance, because acceptance is basically the minimal. I accept you, but I don't necessarily I put you at some different level versus equity, which is, that's, we're gonna pull the word acceptance and change it to, most likely to equity there. And also, as on the definition was embrace and build on our differences versus invest. Embrace and build on our differences. So that's another thing that was proposed, just so you have the background on the things that were proposed during the days before.
That's very helpful, Sam. I like that. I mean, I didn't catch everything super clearly there, but it sounds like going the right direction. And I mean, to me, so bring this back to a personal value. My personal values in this are opening myself up to, to other view. I mean, it's about changing me. It's not about, it's about changing me so that I'm more able to be equitable, right? Or in me, and then, for instance, I'm dealing with this right now in my department, or changing my department's culture, not finding somebody that, being nice to somebody that's underrepresented so they can join our team and play the game that we've always played. It's about changing the way we operate, who we are, our fundamental values, so that it's a team that they want to join because we're concerned about equity.
You have a very good point there, because on the fourth bullet, it was brought up that we should seek to understand versus listen to understand.
Yeah,
take an active role in seeking, not only just listening, but actually seeking to understand what you're conveying versus just hearing you. I actually know where you're coming from based on your biases and based on your upbringing and based on your, not just mine, but I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so you've got some verbs here that are very passive, like encourage and listen. And then you've got, advocate and create. I mean, I think this needs to be a challenging one, right? I is in another very long exercise to try and come up with some language in a similar thing in another place in the university recently, and we wanted to put the word challenge in there, and there was this huge pushback from using that word, saying, well, no, people don't want to be challenged. They'll get scared about that and they're going to run away. This is painful stuff, right? This is challenging and hard stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is sort of, we gotta come up with some sort of a Nike slogan here about, no pain, no gain kind of thing here, because this is not, I'm telling you, this is hard.
I would say diversity and inclusion is one of those that by its nature is uncomfortable.
Yeah, and so I think, so maybe embrace the uncomfortable nature of this thing should be one, but I mean, that's, to me, that's the way, I don't know, that's kind of the key value, part of this value for me, is that understand that it's going to be uncomfortable, understand that I have to grow, be willing to put up with the personal pain, in order to make it a more equitable place. I mean, it's just really hard, and it needs to be there. I'm so glad it's there.
I will say, Bill, one of the comments that was made was about second to last one, listen to understand and empower. That one, somebody suggested listening is too passive. So changing it to seek, to maybe something more like seek to understand. That is more active, right? If I'm listening, then you have to do all the work. But if I'm seeking, you put some of the onus on me.
Seek is positive, but it's weak, man. It's got to be like,
what? Give us something to think. Tom, come on.
Challenge myself to understand. I mean, I totally agree that you don't want to listen there, and I don't like encourage. I don't want to encourage a culture of acceptance. I would demand a culture of acceptance.
And another thing about that bullet, and this is a small thing, but it completely changes the meaning of it. You need a comma after understand, because you're listening to understand and you're empowering courageous and honest communication. The way it's written right now, you're saying listen to understand and listen to empower courageous and honest communication.
I see. Okay.
I love you, Tom.
That is us. I like it. I like it.
I mean, I would go full bore on super demanding active verbs in this that are challenging, or at least admit the challenging nature of this. I would change it, like I would change encourage to demand.
Encourage to demand. Okay. Oh, to demand.
And I'm with doing something better than listen to.
Okay. Challenge myself. I like challenge myself.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you came up with it, Bill. Belinda, anything you want to say on this one? You good? You good? All right. 12:44. We have 15 minutes and 2 more to go. Okay. Again, if you think of words, if something comes to mind on any of these, please put it in the chat because that's a good record for us. Community, collaborate to develop an inclusive sense of place and purpose. And then our behaviors are engage in cross-collaborative teamwork, serve others and extend genuine acknowledgement and recognition, support students throughout their journey, cultivate meaningful relationships through intentional acts of kindness, and respond to relevant community needs.
I'll give you some background from the last couple days on this as well. As far as the definition, they had collaborate to develop an inclusive sense of belonging versus place and purpose. For the first, behaviors that engage in purposeful teamwork versus cross-collaborative. Took out support students throughout their journey altogether because basically the thought process was all of these support students throughout their journey, so it doesn't necessarily need to be spelled out as behavior.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of why we're all here already. So
Other than respond to relevant community needs, there was it may limit our scope as we're a global provider. So but the words weren't there for that one yet.
This was pretty good.
I was saying, this is the one I like the best out of all of them, I think.
Yeah. And Sam, like the stuff that you just provided, I think sound like productive changes.
Okay. Great. Any other comments on this one? And one of the reasons that we did not include all the change from one town hall to the next is because we're also wanting to see what are the recurring themes. And some of you are saying the same things. And so that only strengthens the arguments for making changes because without being prompted, a lot of you are saying the same things. And so that's important. Okay, the last one is commitment. Hold ourselves and each other accountable to our responsibilities, to goals, and to those we serve. Embrace and uphold the university mission and vision. Encourage healthy, constructive conflict. Advocate self-reflection and continual institutional improvement. And build a foundation of trust. Okay, fine.
And with that one, I'll throw in a couple other things that were said, just in case they're on your mind already. Was that they talked about encourage either constructive problem solving or encourage healthy constructive resolution to get rid of the word conflict. The other one was advocate self-reflection and institutional mindset growth instead of continual improvement because it was kind of dated.
I guess my concern about this one is, so I read commitment and I read intentional dedication to our responsibilities, our goals, and to those we serve. Well, to those we serve actually ties more back in the community, so I'm not sure that you need that. But then it lists out only certain parts of our responsibilities and goals, and I would make this more foundational. Like, I want to embrace and uphold all my, I mean, it says the university mission and vision, I want to uphold anything I'm I'm not sure I know how to articulate this well. I mean, conflict is not the only, I mean, and constructive conflict is not the only thing I need. I mean, I need to be committed to excellence in my work. I need to be committed to excellence in my classroom and excellence in my leading of my department. And so I mean, this feels like, okay, I'm going to be committed, but then but I'm only going to be committed in these areas. And it seems very limiting to me. And I don't see, I don't understand how building a foundation of trust is a commitment thing. I mean, commitment's way beyond that.
Kenzie saying in the chat, uphold our core values.
Yeah,
Because
Well,
what I'm
and,
hearing is
and
that it's too narrow.
build a foundation of trust might be better for diversity and inclusion
Yeah.
rather than commitment.
I mean, holding myself accountable is good.
And they encourage healthy, constructive conflict. Yeah, I don't like conflict, but debate might be a better word to put in there, where it's okay to have differing views and freedom of speech and debate and have healthy interaction between people who have differing ideas. I mean, and I think that's a good thing, but I think conflict to me sounds more physical than verbal or written or anything like that. Conflict sounds like we're taking it outside.
I mean, something like demand excellence of myself, and I don't know, this is, the concept of committing to committing to the mission and to excellence and holding myself accountable, I understand. But the other ones are, I mean, self-reflection and continual institutional renewal. I don't know. It feels like I like the commitment, and I mostly like the tagline.
The definition.
Dedication. I don't know. I don't need intentional dedication to our responsibilities and our goals. I mean, I would say dedication to our responsibilities, our goals, and mission. But the bullets, the behavior bullets on there don't get me there.
And this is a little off topic. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine.
Bring it, Tom.
And also we have to keep in mind that once we come up with these and they are finalized and we're start printing them and hanging them around the campus and sending them to donors or whoever else might want to know what these are, we are required by the system to use Associated Press style on our printed materials, which does not capitalize university unless it's Angelo State University. Whenever you say the university or university values or anything like that, and you don't know how many places on our website and in news releases I've had this debate with people that want to capitalize university.
I hear you.
That should not be that way. So I just want to point that out here at the beginning, so that when you do make the final draft, go ahead and lowercase university right there.
Well, and before we make the final draft, trust me, Tom, your team is going to have free range on this. We need you. No, absolutely. And we'll make a note of that. That's something we can go ahead and change for the next one. That's an easy fix. Okay, so on commitment, what I have so far, build a foundation of trust might be something that could be better under diversity and inclusion. We may not need the part under the definition and to those we serve, that maybe that's unnecessary. Embrace and uphold the university mission and vision, that might be a little too narrow. I think Kenzie suggested our core values as a possibility. And instead of conflict, possibly debate instead. Is that anything else on this?
Dr. Kitch mentioned commitment to excellence. So having the word excellence in there at some point.
Yeah, oh, I have demand excellence of myself. Have that written down, which.
Yeah, I like the demanding excellence of myself. I mean, I don't know how much you're going to focus these personally. If you're going to focus them personally, I would do that. If you're going to leave them broader than that, you could say, demand excellence of myself and, my team or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one of these that I thought belonged in community better. I don't remember which one it was now.
The
Anyway.
embrace and uphold core values, maybe? I don't know. Okay, as you look, and we have 6 minutes, as you look at these overall, or have any more thoughts come up, come to mind, any words? What do you think?
I think you'd move significantly, get rid of significance, the things that aren't in a bunch of us other places. The things that aren't there, you could put them in. I think I put most of my key stuff in the chat. I'd like to move from diversity and inclusion to equity, or equity for all, or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think, did you read this one, Sam, that we're thinking of, one of the suggestions is changing that first line, build a culture of equity, participation, and belonging.
As opposed to the embrace. Yeah.
Instead of acceptance, to substitute it for
acceptance.
equity.
Yeah, build a culture of equity, participation, and belonging.
Yeah, I like those really active stuff.
Okay. So, have we missed anything? Anything else? Wonderful.
I didn't get a voucher for a beer or a bottle of wine. That's.
Were you promised that? That probably Sam that promised that. Which, by the way, I'm not opposed to. Like, that would be awesome.
I'll take one too. Dude.
I think
Why
our
would you think that?
participation would greatly increase.
Why would you think that, Flora?
With that,
Why would you think that?
because you're a troublemaker. Not that alcohol would get us into trouble here, huh? Thank you all so much for giving us 1 hour of your Friday, your lunch hour. I hope you'll have a good rest of your day and a wonderful, wonderful weekend. If you think of anything else, you can email us. You can email, you can submit input through the Values Journey website. You can email Sam Joelle or me. And please, if you will tell those in your department, tell those around you, we want to hear, we'd like to hear from about 350 people at least, and we're still kind of far from that number. So any support that you can give us, we'd appreciate your advocacy there. Have a great one. Take care. Thanks for the input.
Thank you.